to the wise. This isn't your typical camping trip.
For the 101st season, Camp Randall Stadium open to host the Wisconsin Badgers, who are back home taking on the winless Nebraska Cornhuskers. A terrific crowd on hand once again. Two shades of red battling for bragging rights in the West Division. Nebraska trying to get its first win under Scott Frost. Wisconsin trying to keep on track for another West Division title. The Badgers playing against the West Division. It's been very good for Wisconsin since 2014. 22 wins and only 3 losses against West Division foes. The Badgers making their way out to the field at Camp Randall, ready to get this prime time showdown started. When this building opened in 1917, only 10,000 Badger fans could fit inside. That capacity now over 80,000 strong. And the Badgers take the field at Camp Randall the last 14 years. 87 wins, only 11 losses on their home field. Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Kevin Kugler alongside former Illinois linebacker Jay Lehman. Matt Millen, my usual partner, is taking the rest of the year off to battle amyloidosis. Matt, we miss you. We know you're watching tonight, likely with a giant plate of peach cobbler in front of you, and we wish you well. We're thinking about you, my friend. Jay, let's talk about this matchup tonight, because on paper, you've got an 0-4 Nebraska team. You've got a Wisconsin team in the driver's seat right now in the West Division, in the top 20. On paper, it looks like a mismatch. You don't think so? Why?
Because that Husker offense, it's high-flying, it's high-tempo, led by a dynamic freshman quarterback in Adrian Martinez, who has some weapons on the edges, most notably J.D. Spielman. Love to get him in a mismatch. Look at the recognition of Martinez. On the safety, Jacob Dieneman matched up on J.D. Spielman. They're going to run the wheel route to Spielman to get him open in the corner in the end zone, but watch the pump fake that freezes the safety. Dieneman makes his eyes violate me. He doesn't know where Spielman is. Loses Spielman. Spielman gets a step. Touchdown, Huskers.
Well, the Badgers and head coach Paul Chryst would love nothing more than to keep that potent Husker offense on the sideline. They can do that if they can get the nation's leading runner, Jonathan Taylor, going again.
It begins and ends always with the run game when you're talking Badger ball. And Jonathan Taylor, one of the best in the nation. Not just the power, but the speed to break away. This guy has a slew of 200-yard games. And Nebraska fans remember that one last year. Went for 249 against the black shirt D. That hurts.
Wisconsin got hurt in the run game this week with an injury to Xander Neville. He's their best blocking tight end. Not a big pass catcher, but the best blocker in that tight end core. That's a significant loss in the run game for the Badgers for the rest of the year. Joining us on the sideline, time to welcome in the third member of our crew, Rick Pizzo. Rick?
Kevin, there's no doubt the loss of Neville, a huge blow to Wisconsin, a huge help to this Nebraska fantastic defense. DC Eric Shenander has known all along. His unit has to sell out to stop the run. That becomes easier to do without Neville in the game. Still, expect Shenander to load the box. 7, 8, 9 defenders, depending on Wisconsin's personnel. Puts enormous pressure on the corners. DiCaprio, Boodle, and Eric Lee, according to Shenander, will have to play their best games of the year in man coverage and run support. And consider the fact that Lee wasn't even on the depth chart 2 weeks ago, buried beyond the 2 deep tonight. He starts on the road against a top 20 opponent.
Big test indeed for this Husker team and for their head coach, Scott Frost, who's working on building a culture and getting this program, as he said, back to where it needs to be. First season as Nebraska head coach, the former quarterback going to work. Speaking of former quarterbacks, and back at their home state, home school, Paul Chryst. What a successful run he's had as the head man at Wisconsin. Look at that record, 37-8, even better in conference, 23-4 in Big Ten games. Wisconsin wins the toss. They have elected to receive. It'll be the Badgers on offense first. Ready to kick it off. Aaron Cruikshank waiting deep, and we're underway under the lights at Camp Randall. And the touchback will bring it out to the 25-yard line. And out comes Alex Hornibrook, the junior starting quarterback for the Wisconsin Badgers, who, amazingly enough, since the start of last year, only Trace McSorley with more touchdown passes among Big Ten quarterbacks. Alex Hornibrook, 23-4 as the starter at Wisconsin, and 31 touchdown passes in the last year plus.
He wins games, throws great balls in critical situations, and he's taken better care of the football this year. Probably the biggest difference from this year to last.
Just 2 interceptions this year for Alex Hornibrook. He has had 17 since the start of last year. Jonathan Taylor on the first carry, and Luke Gifford with the tackle at the 28-yard line. Taylor over 100 yards in every game this season. His high watermark this year, pretty good one, 253 yards against New Mexico. Hornibrook on the roll on 2nd and 7, and the first catch for Kendrick Pryor. And that'll get a first down for the Badgers.
When you see Hornibrook on the right hash, the offensive right hash, you love to roll him to his left, especially early in the game. Give him a nice, easy completion to Pryor and get Hornibrook in rhythm.
Taylor the single back on first down. It'll be Taylor with the carry. And look at Taylor pushing the pile, and Jonathan Taylor with a gain of 7. Akinmaladu and Berry on the stop.
Taylor, powerful for his size, always keeps his legs moving, more than just a breakaway threat. This guy, difficult for any one tackler to bring down.
2nd down and 3. Opening possession. Taiwan Deal now in at running back. First carry for Deal. And Deal with a little burst gets the first down to the Badger 49. Alex Davis on the stop for the Huskers. But Wisconsin doing Wisconsin things, Jay Lehman. 6, 7, 8 yards a carry to start things off.
This is Scott Frost's worst fear. He said 4 yards, 8 yards, 6 yards, 2 yards. They'll chew up game clock. They said they'll chew up 6, 7 minutes of game clock, and our offense won't be in the field for 30 minutes of real time. That's not what my high-tempo offense is built for. I got to get my guys on the field.
This is exactly what Wisconsin wanted to do, though. Keep that high-tempo offense of Nebraska on the sideline. Pryor and Dunn, the receivers, to the bottom of the screen. Deal with the carry. Deal into Husker territory at the 47. 4-yard pickup on the play as we check out tonight's Auto Owners Insurance Impact Players with the Badgers on offense.
Who else but Jonathan Taylor? The run game's so crucial, but how about A.J. Taylor? No relation, but dynamic in the pass game. Muhammad Berry probably playing the hardest of any defender, according to Scott Frost. And Luke Gifford, lunch pail guy, makes a lot of plays just doing the right thing in the right position.
A.J. Taylor had that game-winning touchdown against Iowa. We were talking with him yesterday. He said, it's kind of my biggest touchdown catch in my career. That's Crookshank on the jet sweep, and Gifford ready for it with a tackle at the 46-yard line.
Test those defensive, those outside linebackers early. Gifford got tested on the jet sweep. Our impact player.
So let's look at this 3rd and 5, Jay Lehman. From the Husker 46, what do you expect to see here?
You oftentimes see this 3-by-1 set where they like to hit the inside receiver. And Ferguson, though, is the guy they like, the tight end. This is a new wrinkle. Usually he'll be lined up as the 3rd receiver on the other side.
Barneybrook on 3rd down. Eric Lee with the immediate tackle. It is Ferguson, the tight end, but he's short of the 1st down.
It's a heavy tendency when you watch Wisconsin. They love Jake Ferguson on 3rd down. He's their money down player because he's matched up usually on a linebacker or a safety, but they had the corner Lee on him, still able to get open, and decision time for Paul Chryst looks like he's rolling the dice.
You like the decision, 4th and 1?
When you got an offensive line like Wisconsin, if you can't get 4th and 1, are you even the Badger football team?
They're going to go Wildcat with Garrett Groshek taking the snap on 4th down. Groshek on the keep, and Groshek with the 1st down. Bowling Huskers and Badgers over to the 39. Alec Ingold paving the way for Garrett Groshek.
Talk about the push up front. Tyler Biotish, Bo Benshaw, just knocking guys off the line. And Groshek, they call him the technician. They might want to call him the Badger Bull, just bowling his way through for the 1st down. We saw that in his short yardage early in the game against Iowa. The Wildcat, in critical situations, 37's a guy they like to turn to.
Former high school quarterback, getting the chance to do a little bit of it at this level. Hornibrook back in now from the 39 of Nebraska. Jonathan Taylor back in as well, and Taylor, look at him churn to the 33. At least 4 yards, Jay, after contact for Jonathan Taylor.
You know, a lot of people talk about yak yards after catch. What about the yak yards after contact for Jonathan Taylor? You know, he gets the highlights because of his breakaway speed, but this is the stuff that chews up clock. Look at Scott Frost. He's looking at the clock right now. I got to get my offense on there. There's already 5 minutes of game time gone, and they're not even past the 30.
9-play, 42-yard drive. This play number 10 coming up.
It's tight formations. They love to bounce Taylor outside.
Taylor trying to bounce is tripped up a yard short of the 1st down at the 30-yard line. But here again, a 3rd down. This is a team that converts 49% of their 3rd downs. And you talked with Scott Frost yesterday and Eric Shenander, the defensive coordinator. He said, yeah, those are usually 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, like they are right now.
It's about staying on schedule, right? They have very few negative plays. You gain 7 on 1st down, 2 on 2nd down, and Eric Snyder's looking at the clock. I got to get a stop on 3rd down. Got to get my defense off of the field so we can score some points.
Pryor in motion. Taylor the carry. Big hole, 1st down and more. Taylor into the secondary and ridden down at the 15-yard line. 15-yard burst for Jonathan Taylor, and the Badgers move him again.
They run that jet sweep motion, and that makes the linebackers scrape outside. Good block on the edge there by the offensive line. Gaping hole, and now they're in business at the 15.
You saw Jake Ferguson, the tight end, not known as a blocker. He was kind of out there screening off a couple of Huskers.
We saw them run that jet sweep early, then they faked it. The linebackers scraped too far, opened up the hole wide.
1st and 10 at the 15. This is Ingold with a carry. Breaks the Gifford tackle and has his legs taken out by Eric Lee.
Well, that was the touchdown sealing play at Iowa. They ran the counter in which they faked the pitch to Taylor, hand off to Alec Ingold, the state champion wrestler, one of my favorite players on all of Wisconsin. I mean, if you want to play fullback, come to Wisconsin or go to Michigan because they actually get the ball. But that was the play they sealed the game against Iowa on with a touchdown.
Ingold, a quarterback in high school, a running back, came here as a linebacker, then moved to fullback. Found a home there, 2nd and 7.
Hornibrook, good protection. Now the pocket collapses, and Hornibrook throws it away.
Late pressure from Mohamed Berry, forcing Hornibrook to get rid of that one, and now 3rd and 7 for the Badgers. It's a giant play for this Nebraska defense.
Nebraska knows that Wisconsin's so good in the red zone. 13 trips, 16 trips, 13 touchdowns. And they're good because when the field gets compressed, you got to have good tight ends and backs. It's hard to get the ball to the wide receiver. What you're going to see here is they're going to look for Ferguson right here or Taylor on the post drop.
Hornibrook going to the outside receiver and Pryor, who pulls it in but out of bounds.
Good changeup by Paul Chris. What they've shown is that Taylor and Ferguson, they went with Pryor instead. You can see he's clearly out of bounds. Good coverage by Boodle. Gabriel Boodle was tested all last week. They really banged him at the corner. Jeff Brom kept going at him. He has 10 pass breakups on the year.
Rafael Gaglianone on to try the 30-yard field goal. He wears number 27 in honor of former Nebraska punter Sam Foltz, who was killed a couple of years ago in a car accident. They were great friends, and he changed his number after that to honor his fallen friend as Gaglianone hits the field goal to give the Badgers the 3-0 lead. Long drive, 3 on the board for Paul Chris. Busy weekend in Madison, the World Dairy Expo going on. The show is held annually here in Madison. It's the largest and most important dairy cattle show in North America. I have no idea how you judge a cow, one versus the other, but there are people who know how to do that. I'm not one of them.
I saw one with a blonde tail.
Yeah.
Maybe that gives you extra points.
Maybe it does.
Speaking of points,
3 of them on the board for Alex Hornibrook in Wisconsin. They march it 15 plays, 63 yards. It's the first time they've scored on a game-opening drive this year, but are they satisfied with 3?
Never satisfied with 3, especially when you're that good in the red zone. They are satisfied with 7 minutes and 52 seconds off the game clock.
And they have to be satisfied with how their offensive line performed against Nebraska's defensive front.
Absolutely.
And the knee is taken. And Maurice Washington will walk off as Adrian Martinez walks on. 414 yards of total offense last week against Purdue. You saw it here on BTN. The 10th best performance in Nebraska history for anybody. That's a lot of yardage for a guy who was just in game number 3, really, of his career.
There's a lot of college football Hall of Famers that have played at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. To do that as a freshman, impressive.
Divine Ozigbo, the starting I-back for the Huskers. And on the first play, a quick toss to Stanley Morgan on the edge, and Morgan's got a first down.
One-on-one against Deron Harrell. And Nebraska's going to look at that secondary as a place they can attack tonight, Jay. No Caesar Williams, one of the starters, out with an injury.
Well, this defense is inexperienced, but especially in the secondary. Lost some corners, Caesar Williams out, lost some corners to graduation.
And a little early movement from Bo Wilson.
Prior to the ball being snapped, false starts. Offense, number 71, 5-yard penalty, first down.
They charged Matt Farniok with that false start, but it was Bo Wilson.
And that's one thing that Scott Frost said we got to clean up, penalties. You have a good play, you're in rhythm, you're tempoing, and you have a penalty.
One of the most penalized teams in college football. Martinez in some trouble. Edwards on the blitz. Martinez buying time. And Martinez gets positive yardage, chased out by Dakota Dixon.
That's the best 1-yard run you're ever going to see. That's what Adrian Martinez can do. He took a 5-yard loss into a 1-yard gain. Kid has got eyes in the back of his head. For a young quarterback, can feel the rush better than most young quarterbacks.
Stoll and Warner, the receivers, to the top of the screen. Off play action. And it's caught by Cade Warner, and Warner twists down at the 40 in the arms of Faion Hicks, and it leaves a 3rd and 7.
Love to get the ball to their playmakers. They've already got one to Stanley Morgan, but look out for J.D. Spielman. They're going to line him up second from the bottom of the screen. Number 10, you'll see him. And they're often quite a bit right here. You'll see such a tough matchup. They have Dakota Dixon, probably their best defender on.
Martinez with a little pressure. Nobody open. And Martinez throwing into traffic, and it's almost intercepted by Scott Nelson. T.J. Edwards providing the heat on Adrian Martinez, and the Huskers will have to punt it away.
They look to Spielman, covered by Dakota Dixon tightly. And he throws it up for Morgan. And good defense there.
Good work by Jack Stoll, turning into a defender.
Stoll could play a little linebacker if he wanted to.
Caleb Lightbourne punting to Jack Dunn.
And movement.
And Caleb Tanner moving a little early for the Huskers.
False starts. Offense number 4. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Penalties have plagued Scott Frost's team. 10.5 per game this year. They had 11 last week.
Dunn fields it, did not call fair catch, and Dunn turned on the Jets.
That's a gutsy return by the sophomore from right here in Madison. Cam Taylor on the stop, but Jack Dunn motors out to the 45-yard line.
It almost looked like he gave a Peter call, almost waved his arms a little bit. Watch closely, but when he calls it off, he doesn't actually wave his arms. Watch. No, he decides not to do it, catches the ball, gets a great return, gets upfield, 1st down Badgers.
Nothing advantage for Wisconsin. 5:43 remaining in the first, alongside Jay Lehman with Rick Pizzo on the sidelines. I'm Kevin Kugler. Rare good field position for the Wisconsin Badgers. This team averages the 27-yard line where they start. 3rd worst in the Big Ten Conference as far as average starting field position. But thanks to the strong return from Jack Dunn, they'll start at their 45-yard line.
Every offensive coordinator loves the great field position. You don't want a good team like Wisconsin to have any advantage starting at their 45. Definite advantage.
Play action. Hornibrook with time. Pressure comes late and high over the middle, incomplete. Looking for Danny Davis.
Next Saturday, BTN Tailgate heads to Penn State's campus as Dave, Jerry, Howard, Spice, and Michelle set the scene for the East Division matchup between the Nittany Lions and Spartans, and get you ready for a busy day around the conference. BTN Tailgate presented by TIAA next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on BTA.
Second down, Taylor the carry. And Jonathan Taylor popped at the 49-yard line.
Antonio Reed providing the pop. And now 3rd down and 7. 3rd and 6 for the Badgers. They'll spot the ball near the 49-yard line.
We'll see Jonathan Taylor going off the field. Garrett Groshek has really become the 3rd down back for protection purposes and also for receiving purposes. They love this formation. 3-by-1, 3 receivers to the left. Groshek offset. Always got to watch out for Ferguson, the tight end, and Taylor.
In the slot to the bottom, that's where he's looking towards that left side. There's Ferguson, the tight end, with a catch and a 1st down.
2nd catch of the night for Jake Ferguson, and Jay Lehman, 12 of his 14 catches this year have either been 1st downs or touchdowns.
And he's had 2 tonight. You'll see he's matched up on Trey Neal. Trey Neal's got the safety. Is a safety. Should be a good matchup, but Ferguson's got a little wiggle to him. And you can see just runs a quick out route and has the athleticism to put his foot in the ground and get upfield.
Grandson of Wisconsin athletic director, former head coach Barry Alvarez. From the 37, out of the eye, Jonathan Taylor the carry, and Barry with the tackle at the 35 as we check into with Rick Pizzo.
Kevin, this Nebraska defense absolutely has to get off the field. After that first drive, it was good, bad news. They came to the sideline. They were getting congratulations for keeping Wisconsin to a field goal. The trouble was they couldn't respond with a thank you because nobody could catch their breath. The big fellas up front looked as tired as any group I've ever seen after a first drive, and now the Badgers are at it again.
And depth is an area that Nebraska's working on, trying to build, but it's not there yet.
2nd and 8 at the 35. Hornibrook, and he tried to dump it off to Kendrick Pryor.
Incomplete, brings up a 3rd and 8. So 3rd and 8. Paul Christ's team, as we mentioned earlier, second only to Ohio State in the conference in 3rd down conversions at 49% on the year, but this is not their normal 3rd down.
What's interesting is usually they're 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, but they'll always come out in this 3-by-1 formation. They're going to have Ferguson and Taylor right here bubbled up next to each other, and that's where they like to throw the football.
Hornibrook flushed. Hornibrook almost picked off. Antonio Reed got in there to bat it away, and it's 4th down.
And who's he looking for? He's looking for Jake Ferguson. But Antonio Reed watched the same tape that we watched. Great anticipation by Reed. Look at the long arm rake with the right hand. Little left hand action, but it timed up pretty well. Hornibrook gets in trouble when he starts to scramble. We talked to Paul Christ. When stuff breaks down, that's when he throws inaccurate throws. Great job by Reed not to grab jersey, just a little draping of the arm.
Anthony Lottie to punt, J.D. Spielman back.
And Lottie's punt into the end zone. Touchback.
The 35-yard punt is only going to net 15 yards, and Nebraska's offense heads back out of the field down just 3. 3-0 Wisconsin as we take a look at tonight's Auto Owners Insurance Impact Players with Nebraska on offense.
J.D. Spielman, so dynamic in the open field. Divino Zigbo coming off his best game of his career against Purdue. And then Dakota Dixon, the veteran in the secondary, and T.J. Edwards, the All-American linebacker for the Badgers.
Dakota Dixon eyeing up this Husker offense that has 4 receivers to the bottom of the screen. Now they'll shift.
Ozigbo moving into the backfield. Look how wide the 3 are to the bottom. Martinez on the keep, looking for an Ozigbo block.
And it's Edwards who comes back to make the tackle near the 28-yard line.
Had 4 receivers out there. They wanted to see how that Badger defense adjusted, and then with the motion back, they kept only 5 defenders in the box. So Martinez on the RPO, run pass option, opted to run the ball for a nice gain because they had numbers advantage in the box.
2nd down, that's Ozigbo in motion. Martinez will keep,
and Martinez is dropped.
3rd down for Nebraska.
Now Zach Vaughn, you look at Scott Frost, those outside linebackers. Vaughn, Tyler Johnson, Van Ginkel when he's healthy. We'll see Andrew Van Ginkel on 3rd downs. I'm still nursing an ankle injury. This is the position that has been so good. The Vince Beagles, the TJ Watts, the Garrett Dooleys, the Joe the Show Schobers. They just spit out outside linebackers here.
On 3rd and 3, here comes Vaughn on the rush. Martinez sidearms it incomplete.
It was Zach Vaughn. He's the speed guy at that outside linebacker position, and his speed threw off the timing of Adrian Martinez, and the punt team coming on.
You're going to see the offensive line cut block on quick game. Watch them all fall to the ground right there, trying to get the hands down. But you can't do that to Zach Vaughn. He just runs right by Divino Zigbo. Everybody cut blocks, and then guess who takes a shot? Good, clean tackle by Vaughn from the back. You don't want that man, Adrian Martinez, taking hits. In quick game especially.
Lightborn. And And the punt out of bounds. An excellent field position again for Wisconsin. Their last possession started at the 45. This one will start at midfield. Not what Lightbourne was looking for there. Ball crisp through. Starting at midfield, up 3-0. 2:10 left first quarter, 3-0 Wisconsin, the lead over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Next week, a full slate of Big Ten football comes your way on BTN and FS1 with 4 great conference matchups. It's all next week on BTN or FS1 and watch anywhere on the Fox Sports app. Go to BTN.com tomorrow to see where you can find games. Find this game right here in Madison, Wisconsin with Alex Hornibrook and the Badgers starting at midfield. Best starting field position of the night. And on first down, Jonathan Taylor runs into the arms of Dedrick Young and Ben Stilley, combining for the stop after a 4-yard pickup. Second down and 6. Taylor 8 carries for 44 yards tonight. Wisconsin's run 21 first quarter plays. Nebraska 7. Here's Groshek on the sweep. Found a hole, and Groshek with a first down and more. Garrett Groshek to the 32. He picks up 14 before Aaron Williams and Ben Stilley combine on the stop.
And come back out in that 3-by-1 pass set, but they mix it up with the run play. Look at Tyler Biadasz reach that nose tackle and able to get the key block right there. And look at Groshek finish as he runs through Aaron Williams. Groshek is a Badger through and through.
75 yards on the ground already for Wisconsin. Looking for more here with Taylor. Quick little step out. Good work by Nebraska to get him down after just a 1-yard gain. Young and Lee combining on the tackle of Jonathan Taylor. Already seen Eric Lee a couple of times tonight. Came on mid-game last week against Purdue. Elevated to the starting role this week.
And he'll be tested here. Whenever you see the personnel come in with Ferguson at tight end, you've also got Kendrick Pryor, Danny Davis, and A.J. Taylor in the game. You see Ferguson in a pass-protecting set.
Groshek. And Groshek dropped after a couple to the 28-yard line. There's Carlos Davis. First time we've called his name. He played well last week against Purdue. And Wisconsin not going to snap this one again until we get to the second quarter of play. Productive first quarter for the Badgers. Hitting the field, the offense has never left it. Jonathan Taylor with a good start. A first down again for Jake Ferguson. Paul Christenstein on top early. Badgers with a 3-0 lead as we start the second quarter. Kevin Kugler, Jay Lehman, Rick Pizzo, our entire BTN crew on hand at Camp Randall Stadium. Dominant first quarter despite just a 3-0 advantage for Wisconsin, Jay. Their offense has been on the field all night.
Scott Frost's worst nightmare. My offense not on the field because of the ball control offense of the Badgers. They come back out in that 3-receiver set with Ferguson as a tight end.
On 3rd and 6, and there is A.J. Taylor with a first down. We saw it all day yesterday watching Wisconsin tape. They run those 3 receivers, and it's either Ferguson or Taylor that Hornibrook looks to 90% of the time.
Absolutely. You see them lined up together. He just runs a quick slant. Too much of a cushion right there by Aaron Williams. And it's hard to throw to the sideline in the red zone because the field's condensed. The corners can be closer, and you're on this opposite hash. Hard for Hornibrook to make that throw. Much easier throw to the inside receivers.
First down, Taylor with the carry. And Jonathan Taylor works it down to the 9, a pickup of 3. Damian Daniels, Akin Maladoon also in there on the tackle for Nebraska.
One thing I feel like Paul Chryst does real well is he uses where the ball is placed on the field. You see the ball is placed on the field on the right hash. He'll use that entire left side of the field either for a run play to bounce Jonathan Taylor outside or a pass play to find somebody in the flat. He loves, as you see, he lines up the bunch formation that direction now.
Second down. Taylor, a little confusion in the backfield. That gave Nebraska time to bury him. No gain on the play. 3rd and 7 now for Wisconsin. Can Nebraska's defense get another stop and force another field goal try?
It's a huge stop for Nebraska. These guys are gassed. They've been on the field, as you said, 27, 28 plays. But I'll tell you what, they haven't given up the huge play yet. If there's one saving grace for them, it's, hey, they haven't given the huge play. And now you've got Taylor and Ferguson. Top of your screen. Second receiver and third receiver. Got to look out for them.
Brook looking that direction, looking for the end zone, and it's knocked away. He wanted Taylor. Aaron Williams was there on the coverage, and it's 4th down.
That's what the scouting report says. It's Ferguson or it's Taylor in the red zone. Same post route he scored against Iowa right here. And he has him. He just airmails it and throws it behind him. Now, Trey Neal was there as well to sandwich. As you see the hit right there. Good backing off there by Trey Neal to prevent targeting and force a field goal.
Gaglianone from 28.
And for the 65th time in his career, Gaglianone with a good field goal, tying him for the top spot in Wisconsin history. Imagine a world where everyone was Matt Millen. That's the world we live in right now. Our good friend and my partner for several years on BTN, Matt Millen, has taken the rest of the year off as he battles amyloidosis. 1-877 amyloid. If you want to learn about amyloidosis, Dean Blandino even has his own Matt Millen head. Matt's watching tonight. Matt's actually been texting me things to say tonight. So anything that is said by me that you think is really, really intelligent, it'll go to Matt. It's credit Matt. Ready to kick it off. Maurice Washington back for the Huskers, who trail it 6-0. And Washington is going to stay in the end zone for the touchback. And the Huskers will bring it out to the 25. I mean, this is Matt's dream, really, to just have everybody look like him in the booth. That's Jay Lehman, otherwise known as Matt Millen. I'm Kevin Kugler. Yeah, Matt's been a big part of our family on the road. You know, you do these games, and everybody on the crew becomes kind of a family. You're with them for 15 weeks out of the year, essentially. And when one of our family members is missing, we miss him. And so, Matt, we're thinking about him as he continues to battle amyloidosis. There is no doubt Matt Millen's going to be able to beat that thing as Maurice Washington, awkward tackle, and here comes the flag at the 29. Yeah, Ryan Connolly with the stop.
Yeah, Connolly with the horse collar. It's just a dangerous tackle because it's going to bend the running back, Mo Washington, back in a way that he could get hurt very easily. Take a look. It's not intentional. Someone just grabbed him in jersey.
Personal fall. Horse collar tackle. Defense, number 43. The 15-yard penalty they added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
And what's dangerous is that left leg. That shin area, that ankle gets buckled under. And that's the best play of the night as far as yardage goes for the Huskers.
Huskers out to the 44. Martinez to the air, to the sideline, and Washington twisted out at the Badger 48 as we check in Chicago with Mike Hall.
Thank you, Matt and Matt. Now, the only Big Ten game that hadn't ended when yours started was Ohio State, Indiana, and Dwayne Haskins was great. 6 touchdown passes, 455 yards. Buckeyes win big.
Like Mike Hall has said, Dwayne Haskins was great almost every game this year. Quick toss, and look at Washington with the spin. Maurice Washington, this freshman, came in out of Stockton, California, was sick last week,
Scott Frost loves the potential for this young man.
That's what you call the X button. You're playing PlayStation? That's what Mo Washington looked like out there. This kid's going to be special. An explosive jitterbug in the open field.
True freshman. Came in right as fall camp started and opened a bunch of eyes quick for Nebraska.
Swing past Spielman, and Spielman a little bobble. That's an incomplete pass.
Never was able to secure it. Scott Nelson was in there to help him knock it loose. That's an incomplete all the way, and it's 2nd and 10.
Scott Frost can't be happy about that. Really prides his team on blocking at the receiver position. And Stanley Morgan simply just got beat by Scott Nelson and blew up the play on Spielman.
Washington motion.
Got to look out for quarterback draw.
Martinez, protection breaking down. He's in trouble. It's Van Ginkel from behind. The flag is thrown as the pass is thrown incomplete.
Like Farniok had a hold of Zach Bond.
Andrew Van Ginkel with the pressure. The flag
Van Ginkel battling that high ankle sprain. Showing good speed there on the pass rush.
Holding. Offense. Number 71. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Big Matt Farniok. You'll see him right here up on Bond. Frost said he's been their best offensive lineman, most physical, but look at Bond's effort. He just keeps fighting, and that forces the hold. Van Ginkel able to get a hit.
Nebraska's most productive drive of the night pushed back by the penalty. 2nd down and 20 at the Badger 47.
2nd and long, always a screen and draw down. Get some yardage back.
There's the screen to Morgan.
Morgan looking for blockers, and he gets yardage to the 43. Ryan Conley first to greet him.
You're trying to get the 3rd and manageable. A good safe play is a screen or a draw. They want to get in their playmakers' hands. That would be Morgan or Spielman. And now you've got 3rd down. And what's interesting is they like to move Spielman around. You'll see him at the number 3 receiver right now. 2nd, 3rd from bottom of your screen. Right here, there's Spielman. He's matched up on the safety, Scott Nelson. If they need a play, they like to hit him.
3rd and 16. Martinez with time over the middle. It's Morgan. First down, Nebraska. Inside the Badger 20.
Watch Morgan. Just works the deep dig all across the middle. That play's going to be open if you have time to throw it. How about the protection from Martinez? Hasn't had that kind of protection all night. Able to complete the pass.
25 yards to the 18.
Martinez, pocket breaks down late, looking for his tight end, and it's incomplete.
Trying to air it for Jack Stoll, working against Dakota Dixon.
Recognition of matchups. That matchup is a win for Wisconsin in pass coverage. Dakota Dixon, the most experienced secondary guy. If I'm going to bang on somebody and attack someone, I'm going to go over to Duron Harrell, who's getting some playing time. I'm going to go against some of the younger players that are not as experienced as Dixon.
Martinez, the sprint out. Morgan, the catch. Breaks one tackle, and down at the 14, Nelson
taking the legs out from Stanley Morgan. Did Faion Hicks grab the face mask here? Just raised it a little bit.
If you get your finger in the ear hole, that could be a face mask, but it looked like he raised the helmet. You got to call your best play here. You're one play away from taking the lead. As much as you've gotten dominated, Kevin, you're one play away from taking the lead.
Third down and 6. Martinez with pressure. Spielman can't pull it in.
Incidentally, Dean Blandino said because Hicks got a hold of the ear hole, it should have been a penalty because he grabbed the opening. Badgers dodged the bullet there as the field goal unit comes on for Nebraska. This is what we're talking about, the play prior. Watch Hicks as he gets a hold of the ear hole.
Now, I don't know if it ever goes inside the ear hole. I think it's on the lip, the chin strap of it. It's close, and obviously they're looking at real time. We're looking in slow-mo.
Here's Barrett Pickering. 31-yard try to get Nebraska on the board. And Pickering's field goal is good. And with 9:55 remaining in the first half, the Huskers are on the board. Well, if you like field goals, this is your night in Madison. 6-3 in the second.
In Madison, the big men on campus are those who tote the rock, the horse, the road runner, the Great Dane, Mr. Touchdown. 408. Mr. Taylor, how will we remember you?
Want to start to the career of Jonathan Taylor. Broke the FBS freshman rushing record a year ago, not for Wisconsin, but for all of college football. Adrian Peterson had that mark, and the nation's leading rusher entering play this week. Crookshank on the shorter kickoff from the 3. Crookshank looking for a return. Got a big block. Crookshank tripped up by the kicker, Caleb Lightbourne. Lightbourne just able to swipe the ankle. Chris Orr providing a huge block in the middle of that return. 34-yard return.
He breaks it to left. Watch Chris Orr right there. Big block. And watch the heel slap by the kicker. That's a touchdown if he doesn't make the play. Just gets enough. Tremendous effort.
Aaron Crookshank, I'm sure will enjoy watching film of a kicker tripping him up. On first down, Hornibrook to Taylor. Taylor with room to run. Taylor upended at the Nebraska 38 by Deontay Williams. That's 27 yards for a receiver that averages almost 20 yards per catch on the year.
You're talking about a guy that upped his game in the absence of Quintez Cephas, with Danny Davis being suspended the first 2 games. This guy has upped his game to another level. A.J. Taylor, now the #1 receiver for the Badgers.
There's Jonathan Taylor. Just weaves forward to the 31, picks up 7. Deontay Williams with the tackle. And the Badgers responding very quickly after the Husker field goal.
Muhammad Berry holding his hand. Coaches were high on him. So he's probably playing the hardest of any defender right now. Can ill afford to lose anybody in the front 7 against this Badger offense.
Taylor again, right up the middle, and Taylor with a first down. He goes up the middle there, but this Badger team loves to get to the edge with runs like that as well.
Well, when you crowd the box, 10 defenders here, you'll see in a game previously, within 7 yards of the line of scrimmage. They love to down block in that formation and get the guard and tight end to pull around, and that's going to give the edge to Jonathan Taylor. And once he has the edge, watch out, because he has the speed, the track speed to go the distance for a touchdown. He loves to start inside, hold the linebackers there, and bounce outside fast.
62 yards for Taylor in this first half. He gets a breather as Taiwan Deal is on. Hornibrook with all day to throw. Nobody open, waits, fires, and it's caught. Danny Davis, a leaping grab inside the Husker 10.
First of all, talk about protection. The time that he had to throw that football. And then Danny Davis, it was 6 on 6. Lee on Davis. Davis coming back to the football. Look at the athleticism right here. This is what he did all last year. This is what he did in the Orange Bowl game against Miami. Why they're so high on Danny Davis and why they missed him those first 2 games of the year.
3 touchdowns in that Orange Bowl, Jay, and Danny Davis comes up with a big grab there. First and goal at the 8-yard line. Here's Pryor on the end around. Nice spin to get out away from Lee. Pryor to the 5, and he's upended by Williams short of the goal line. That could have been a big loss, but Pryor showing some nimble skills in the backfield.
Look at the ball handling by Hornibrook right here. Great ball handling, and if you're reading running backs, you're lost. If you're reading linemen, you actually knew where that play was going. You have to read linemen when you play Wisconsin. Great ball handling by Hornibrook.
And injured on the play, Deontay Williams. holding his right shoe as they work on his right leg. The athletic training staff for the Huskers out.
Kevin, what's been interesting to me is the struggles in the red zone for Wisconsin. We'll see if they can finish. They hasn't done that the first 2 times, though.
Deontay Williams hopping up, running off under his own power. Looks to be okay as he mills about the sideline. Big series here. 2nd and goal at the 3-yard line, and Wisconsin getting a little bigger along that front. Jay Lehman.
They love to bring in the jumbo package. They bring in extra offensive linemen.
Logan Bruss in as an extra. He's a tackle eligible tight end situation.
Yeah, that's actually a lineman right there.
Here's Taylor. And Taylor wriggles forward and down to the 1. Almost popped into the end zone to Jonathan Taylor, but it's 3rd and goal.
They'll bring in Bruss. They'll bring in Erdman. That's an extra 600 pounds. Let's see if Taylor gets in.
Ooh.
You know,
that is close.
Remember, if his forearm's down, he's down. It doesn't look to have his elbow or his forearm down at all. And his hip's not down yet. I think he got in from that angle.
They're going to look at this one.
The previous play is under further review.
Well, that body control of Jonathan Taylor, one of his great strengths, and he was able to control as he dove. And you're right, Chad, I didn't see that forearm come down. We'll see what Dean Blandino thought as that play is ruled down at the 1-yard line. Dean, you watch this one. What do you see with Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah, that's a great reverse angle there. The hand touches, but it's got to be something other than the hand or the wrist. Reaches that ball over the goal line before a knee, an elbow hits. That, to me, looks like a touchdown. That's why they stopped it, and they should overturn it.
What a play. Thanks, Dean. Dean Blandino, our rules analyst, checking in. What a play by Jonathan Taylor. It's almost as if we've become accustomed, though, Jay Lehman, to seeing Jonathan Taylor do things like that with that kind of body control diving into the end zone.
The special athletes always know how to get that extra foot, that extra 2 feet to finish in the score. You know, sometimes he hasn't gotten the ball at times in the red zone because of ball security issues. Taiwan Deals come in. Sometimes Garrett Groshek trusts him with the ball right there. Paul Chris putting his faith in his young running back.
I think Paul Chris is going to have a 12-3 lead here in a few seconds. What an answer by Wisconsin. Huskers go down, get a field goal. Badgers answer right back after the
review,
return.
The ruling on the field has changed. Touchdown, Wisconsin.
6th touchdown of the year for Jonathan Taylor. And his 3rd in his young career against Nebraska. Extra point makes it 13-3. Wisconsin, 6:51 remaining in the first half. They're getting the T, the A, and the Y ready already to etch his name on Camp Randall lore. Badgers with 13 on the board now after the Taylor touchdown. 13-3 lead over the Huskers. 6:51 remaining in the first half with Jay Lehman, Rick Pizzo on the sidelines, Kevin Kugler back at Camp Randall Stadium, where the Badgers have been awfully good over the years, especially recently. And up by 10 midway through this second quarter. And a touchback will bring it out to the 25 for the Huskers once more. Stay connected with BTN across every platform and get access to exclusive video content like
follow, share, BTN. Adrian Martinez and the Huskers see that time of possession. Not a huge surprise to see Nebraska without a lot of time of possession. This offense, when it really gets rolling, that's going to be a stat that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but what does matter is points. When you only have 3 points, that's a problem. Doesn't matter to hold on to the ball that much, but you got to score when you have the ball.
Martinez, quick toss to Morgan. Stanley Morgan going airborne. And a first down.
Deron Harrell in the bird's eye view as Stanley Morgan with the hurdle to get the first.
Climbing the ladder.
Martinez going to run. Little opening. First down for Adrian Martinez to the 48. He gets 11 before Nelson and Edwards able to drive him back.
That's an RPO, but it's a quarterback draw RPO. He has the option to throw it to Divino Zigbo in the flat, or he can run the ball. That's the first time he's really run up the middle. Been one of the most effective plays throughout 4 games this season. Surprised to see it just now.
Martinez, pressure comes late as he's looking for Spielman. That pressure from Ryan Conley forces a 2nd and 10.
Stanley Morgan a lot of cushion on the bottom of the screen. Might go back to the hitch route.
Martinez will keep trying to follow Farniak, and he gets into Badger territory at the 46, but now a 3rd and manageable for Nebraska, 3rd and 4.
You know, if you got a guy like Stanley Morgan and he's got a young quarterback, we saw Rashad Wildgoose, great name, getting his first action, manned up on Morgan, who's a senior. They've got to take advantage of that matchup. You've got to know the personnel on the field as Morgan goes in motion.
5 of the 8 completions for Martinez have gone to Morgan tonight. Spielman, the motion man. Martinez to Spielman. He's got the first down and more.
You know, Scott Frost uses motion a lot better than many coordinators. He actually used motion to get him open. Watch Dakota Dixon get lost, and now Spielman has the angle on him. Dixon's not able to catch up. That's using motion to get your player free.
Divino Zigbo back in the backfield. 170 yards last week against Purdue. He's not had a carry tonight. Now Spielman joins him in the backfield. There's the first carry for Ozigbo. And Ozigbo fighting his way to the 32 with Tyler Johnson pulling him down there. Maybe an extra yard to the 31 with that extra push from the senior Divino Ozigbo. Second and 5. Swing to Spielman. Nice catch. Nice move as well. Spielman going the other way. A flag comes flying in as Spielman gets himself down to the 13, but this one's coming back. Conley and Nelson finally caught up. But back it up.
Tremendous effort by Spielman to dig that one. It looked like a first baseman digging that out of the dirt and then crossing the field, maybe all for naught. You can't block low when you come out of the box. It looked like there might have been a low block.
Illegal block in the back. On the offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Second down.
That's Gerald Foster called for the block. And another penalty derails Nebraska.
Right here in the middle of your screen, you'll see him right there put his hands on Tyler Johnson. And boy, that is a light block in the back. You know, Gerald Foster had that penalty last week against Purdue for jumping on the guy he threw down. That was a little bit light, but he did hit him in the back.
So second down and 12
becomes
offside. Defense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
So 2nd and 7 now for Nebraska's Vaughn's offside.
Brendan Hymas did jump, but it was in reaction to Vaughn. So whenever an offensive player reacts to a defensive player, it's a penalty. You see Jim Leonard right there, young, bright mind in all of college football. That guy has head coach written all over him someday.
Martinez with protection. Martinez on the run. Martinez in trouble, and he's sacked.
T.J. Edwards finally got him down at the 38.
Martinez had time. He actually had Maurice Washington wide open on the post route. Just didn't trust what he saw. You'll see, watch 28 top of your screen. He's open on the post route on Chris Orr. He's still open, just doesn't trust himself to throw it, can't set his feet. And that's just rhythm with your personnel. Maurice Washington, a freshman. Martinez, a freshman. Now it's 3rd and 12.
12th sack allowed by Nebraska this year. Martinez with a flag down, and Martinez to the sideline. A diving grab by Spielman. If it stands, it's a first down at the 18.
Looked like they might get Farniak or somebody else on a hold. Another big play. Negated.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Offense, number 71. 15-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And again, Nebraska kills itself with another penalty.
So it was Farniak. It wasn't a hold. It was hands to the face. Sometimes your hand can slip. He's working over here on Bond. And see how his left paw gets up into the face mask and chin area of Bond? And the reason they'll call that a personal foul is you can control somebody. You get your hand up in the face. And Scott Frost, 2 big plays this drive, 2 penalties. It's been the same all year. They have explosive plays that get called back because of undisciplined technique.
5 penalties for 45 yards in this first half. 3rd and 27. And Martinez gets a little back to Morgan, but well short of the first down as Martinez is blasted by Faion Hicks. Let's check in with Rick Pizzo.
Injury update, Kevin. Cornerback Deron Harrell has been taken to the Wisconsin locker room. It's being called an upper body injury. His return is officially listed as questionable. That's why Rashad Wildgoose, a true freshman, getting some extra run in the defensive backfield for the Badgers.
Boy, Rick, that's an area in which Paul Chryst can ill afford to lose anybody. That secondary, Caesar Williams, already out. Timeout taken by the Badgers. Let's take a look at this message from ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire and the official hiring partner of the Big Ten Conference.
Some job boards give you tons of the wrong resumes. That's not smart. Then there's smart. ZipRecruiter finds people with the right skills, education, and experience for your job and actively invites them to apply, so you get qualified candidates fast. That's why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. ZipRecruiter, the official hiring partner of the Big Ten Conference. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Big Ten.
We saw right at the end of that Stanley Morgan catch a moment ago, he got up and was fired up. Here's why he was fired up. Watch Stanley Morgan getting bowled over by 3 Badgers. Conley and Dakota Dixon both lowering in. And you wonder, did Conley get the crown of the helmet?
He was certainly a defenseless player. He's wrapped up.
4th and 11. Nebraska's going to go down 10. Martinez. Pocket breaks down. Martinez airing it deep, and he cannot find his intended target, Maurice Washington.
And the Huskers turn it over on downs. 1 for 8 now on the year are Nebraska on 4th down situations.
Well, Scott Frost is coming to win. Going on 4th and 11. You can understand it's at the 37-yard line. Maybe a punt doesn't do much for you if it rolls into the end zone. But now you've got plenty of time with a Wisconsin team that has 2 timeouts and can chew up the rest of the clock with Jonathan Taylor and that big offensive line and maybe get some more points.
Well, you saw Coach Frost on the sideline the difference between the two coaches, Paul Chryst doesn't have to give Alex Hornibrook quite the instruction that a true freshman's getting from his head coach in the first year of a program right now. On first down, Hornibrook off play action. Over the middle, and it's dropped. A rare A.J. Taylor drop. Lamar Jackson out there on the coverage. You won't see that often.
Well, Chris dialing up a pass play on first down. Just a dig route right across the middle. Maybe a hair behind him. But that's a play that Taylor usually makes without question. One of the most improved players in the conference.
He was telling us yesterday he's gone more this year. The biggest improvement, he's made hand catches more than body catches. It's a former running back playing wide receiver at the college level after playing running back at Rockhurst High School in Kansas City.
Here's Groshek. Groshek with a gaping hole. Banged away. Groshek tumbling down at the 39. He shrugged off that Antonio Reed shot like it was nothing and rolled on to the 39.
Well, Antonio Reed, you're watching Groshek. Look at him just hit the hole hard. Be honest with the good ball. Watching the hit right here by Reed. Thinks he blew him up and was dancing like he had a big hit. But Groshek was still on his feet.
Hornibrook over the middle. It's Groshek again. And this time Barry with the tackle at the 30-yard line.
All the young football players watch this. You want to wrap up and you don't want to celebrate until you know the player's down. Because a guy like Garrett Groshek, because guess what? You celebrate, Tyler Biotish, the Badger, is going to come pancake you. We'll call him the Badger. Joe Rudolph said, what's one word to describe him? Badger.
2nd and 1, Groshek again.
This offensive line is opening some gaping holes right now. Dedrick Young on the tackle.
Halftime cannot come soon enough if you're Nebraska. Now you see them hurrying up a little bit because of the clock. And they are gassed, the Nebraska defense.
Ben Stille coming in, leaving is Deshaun Neal, but because both sides substituted, the officials give time. Hornibrook to the air for Davis, and there's a flag on Lamar Jackson.
Pass interference. Defense number 21.
Look at Lamar Jackson.
15-yard penalty.
And just never turns his head back in time and is jostling with Davis, holding his arm with an arm bar down. They call that every time on Lamar Jackson.
Frustration for Lamar Jackson, who was sent to the sideline last week in favor of Eric Lee. Jackson trying to battle with Danny Davis there. And the Badgers have it 1st and goal at the 8.
Frost talking with Shenander says, what do you got? We got to get a stop here, at least force the field goal. You'll see that Groshek often in 2-minute situations. 2-minute situation, you'll see he's in. And here's the same formation they love to be in. Ferguson, the tight end, and Taylor as the number 2 receiver.
Hornibrook looking to the right side. Pocket collapsing. He's in trouble, and he's sacked.
Luke Gifford with the sack. And Nebraska finally gets some pressure on the quarterback with good coverage. The 13th sack of the year for the Big Red.
Well, our impact player, Luke Gifford. They needed this. He just work on the edge right there. You'll see he just doesn't give up on the play. Hornibrook holds it a little bit too long, and David Edwards gave up a little bit on the block. As Luke Gifford, that's just a motor sack. You keep the motor running, you get home.
So 2nd and goal coming up for Paul Chryst squad. 13-3 advantage for Wisconsin, and really feels like a critical couple of plays here for Nebraska's defense. Wisconsin on the verge. 20-3 feels a lot different going into a locker room than 16-3.
And it's difficult for Nebraska because Wisconsin still has a timeout. They can run, they can throw the ball. They're such a good red zone team. Now they've struggled to get touchdowns tonight. First 2 trips inside the red zone, quite frankly, weren't very successful. Just 2 field goals. If Nebraska can hold it to another field goal, there's still only 2 touchdowns out of this game.
And Nebraska will get the football to start the second half. So a critical series here for the Nebraska defense, as well as for this Wisconsin offense. Really can grab a stranglehold on the scoreboard to match what it kind of feels like on the field.
And again, the same formation, 3-by-1. You'll see Ferguson and Taylor lined up together.
Hornibrook looking for the end zone. It's Ferguson. Touchdown. It's been so effective all year long for Wisconsin. And Alex Hornibrook finding the freshman who's quickly becoming his favorite tight end target, Jake Ferguson. And a 20-3 lead for Wisconsin with 42 seconds left until halftime.
Ferguson is a red zone favorite. He's going to run just a go route. It's going to be a little back shoulder fade action. The defensive back never going to look back for the ball at all. Actually, it's the linebacker, Dedrick Young, never look back. And so you just throw in the back shoulder. That's what Aaron Rodgers had made famous in this state so much. A little back shoulder action to Ferguson. A red zone and third down dynamo. Catches with his hands. Touchdown. And Alex Hornibrook got to be satisfied with his first touchdown of the night. Gets a big lift from Bo Benshaw.
Wisconsin getting a big lift late in this first half, up 20-3.
Last week we saw this against Purdue. You did that game. The offense looked completely different for Nebraska in the second half. It was slow going against the Boilermakers. They've got to have that kind of performance and find a way to get some turnovers, get off the field if they're going to have a chance in this football game.
Well, it's been quite a first half for this Wisconsin Badger team. Paul Christ's squad with a 20-3 advantage, but at halftime, the Wisconsin Badgers are going to honor that 1993 Badger Rose Bowl team. This was Barry Alvarez's breakthrough team. You know, he took over in 1990. That team went 1-10, 5-6, 5-6, and then they broke out in 93, 10-1-1. They win the Big Ten, they win the Rose Bowl, they finish in the top 10, and that's really the turnaround for this Wisconsin program. Barry Alvarez, former Nebraska Cornhusker player, came up here and jump-started a Wisconsin program that really didn't have much life before that. Martinez will set up the screen to Washington. And Maurice Washington gliding to the sideline and out of bounds near a first down.
In an interview with Rick Pizzo yesterday, Barry Alvarez said that season was more about just the football program. That set the stage for the entire rebirth of the athletic program. Our basketball team went to a Final Four. Ticket sales went up. Such a critical team to the whole state of Wisconsin.
First down for the Huskers at their 35. Martinez, low throw, Spielman with the catch at the 41. And Nebraska will stop the clock with a timeout. Now that Wisconsin Rose Bowl team in 1993, you see the program-changing team before 93 in 104 seasons. Plus had been to 6 bowl games and had 1 bowl game win. Since that time, 25 years, 23 bowl games, 14 wins, and 12 10-plus win seasons. And, you know, you look at what Barry Alvarez did. Now, he was taking Wisconsin from a spot much lower than where Nebraska has been, but he was talking earlier in the week with a radio station in Nebraska, and he said, look, I know what Scott Frost is going through when it comes to building a culture. He came in and spoke to his first team in January of 1990, and he laid it out. He said, this is the culture we're going to build. 52 players left his program from that meeting in January to the start of the season in 1990. They went 1-10 that year, and I'm sure there were more than a few people in Madison that were saying, what in the world is going on here? Well, Nebraska had 2 more players leave this week. You're going to see in a culture change, things like that happen. It certainly worked out for Wisconsin. Nebraska would love to see it work out in a similar fashion to get back to where they want to be under their former quarterback and now head coach Scott Frost. But, Jay, you know this better than anybody. Sometimes you get into that locker room, and there are guys who are not going to be with the program, and
We've seen a couple of examples of that this week for Nebraska. Tyjon Lindsey and Greg Bell both leaving this Husker program.
You're establishing a culture. It's for some guys and it's not for some guys. You've got to have the right guys on the bus.
3rd down and 4. Martinez, Spielman cannot pull it in.
Madison, Cone out there on the coverage, and it's 4th down, and Nebraska will punt it away.
Martinez looks like he's short-arming a couple balls. He's throwing some stuff into the ground. Every catch Spielman's had to make, it seems like he's digging it out of the dirt. Usually that means your feet are happy. Get your feet set. Throw the football. Easier said than done when you have pressure bearing down on each play.
Isaac Armstrong on to punt now. It's not been a great night for Caleb Lightbourne, but last we saw him, he was tackling on a kickoff. Good punt by Armstrong. It'll bounce at the 7, takes a kick into the end zone, and it's a touchback. Lightbourne has not had his best punting night,
but his best tackling night. Watch the
Dunn gets pounded.
He got a chest in his face mask.
Cam Taylor right into the return man. Ball well over his head into the end zone, and got to imagine Wisconsin will take a knee here and head to the locker room content with a 17-point lead. All smiles for Alex Hornibrook and company right now. 20-3 lead. 236 yards of total offense in that first half. And a knee will be taken from the 20 to send us to halftime. Strong performance indeed for the Badgers. Scott Frost's team with work to do. They'll get the football to start the second half, but Alex Hornibrook and the Badgers take the 20-3 lead into the locker room here in Camp Randall. Impressive performance tonight for Wisconsin, and really that offensive line established its dominance early in this game for the Badgers, Jay.
Business as usual for the Badgers. Let the run game get going, set up your play action pass, utilize your inside receivers in critical situations, and have Alex Hornibrook execute.
That's the end of the first half with the score. Badgers 20, Cornhuskers 3. Big Ten halftime report after these messages.
You might call it a group exercise, calisthenics, or even a mild workout. In these parts, we call it jump around.
That'll happen start of the 4th quarter as usual tonight here in Madison. Badgers making their way out of the tunnel and back onto the field to get this second half started. Wisconsin enjoying the 20-3 lead over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Rick Pizzo had the chance moments ago to catch up with both head coaches. Rick?
Kevin, Scott Frost said it very simply. We have to get off the field. Frost is well aware his defense cannot spend as much time on the field in the second half as it did in the first and have any chance to win this football game. As for Paul Chryst, he was thrilled with ball control. He was thrilled with offensive line play, and he was thrilled with a charging, opportunistic defense. He sounds just like Wisconsin football. As a matter of fact, he apologized for using so much coach speak, saying it is what it is. But let's be honest, that first half was as much it is what it is about Badger football as you could ever possibly see.
Yeah, if you wanted to just have a template of what Wisconsin Badger football looked like, you run back that first half, that was pretty much it.
How about props to Coach Chryst just admitting to coach speak? You know what? I just gave you all coach speak. I apologize right now. Love it.
Zach Hintz kicking off. Maurice Washington back deep for the Huskers. And the touchback will send it out to the 25-yard line for Nebraska. Adrian Martinez had some moments in that first half. 127 yards on 13 of 22 passing, but Huskers, other than one drive that resulted in the field goal, Jay, just never really able to get any consistency going, and penalties hurt him again.
And how about Divino Zigbo? One carry in the first half after a career day against Purdue last week. Interesting to see if they'll get him the ball early to try to establish some kind of rhythm.
Here's carry number 2 for the day for Divino Zigbo, and there's a flag coming in. May have been a face mask as T.J. Edwards pulled down Divino Zigbo.
I think his hand, Edwards' hand, got on Ozigbo's face masking. It'll be 15 for the Huskers.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 against each team. Holding on the offense, number 71. Personal foul, face mask on the defense. Those penalties will offset. First down.
So for Divine Ozigbo, negate that run, and it starts over with a first down and 10. You see the first 3 games, 90 yards rushing. He had the breakout game last week against Purdue. Continued to hold the top spot in practice this week. That prompted Greg Bell to leave the program. The junior college transfer played 4 games and had enough. He's gone. Adrian Martinez on the run, and Martinez with a yard, and that's all, shoved out of bounds by Zach Vaughn. So Divine Ozigbo, with that 170 yards last week, he's not had very many opportunities at all here tonight to do anything, Jay, but his emergence last week and his continued good practice this week, and Greg Bell, who was the #1 JUCO running back in the country a year ago, leaves the program. Second down.
Martinez with all day to throw. Spielman open over the middle, and Spielman is off to the races. Nobody's going to catch J.D. Spielman. 75 yards and a touchdown.
The quick strike Huskers do indeed strike quick to start this third quarter. The long pass of Adrian Martinez's career, Spielman's longest of the year, his 5th touchdown catch, and a 75-yard touchdown gets Nebraska right back in this ball game.
All kinds of time for Martinez, and has to wait for Spielman to break free, who beats the coverage by Scott Nelson. You heard of out and up? This is an in and up. He's going to run an in route. Watch him run the in route right here, and now break it vertical. Nelson can't react in time. Spielman has the speed, and that's the big plays that Scott Frost talked about. He needed, and you know what? I think Adrian Martinez is excited about that. I think everybody looks on the field for a flag. No flag, and Spielman, Stoll, Warner have a party in the end zone.
And a smile on the face of the head coach, ever so brief, on the Nebraska sideline after Adrian Martinez finds J.D. Spielman from 75, the longest offensive play for Nebraska this year. Caleb Lightbourne with the kickoff. Brookshank has had 1 good return tonight, looking for a second, and he stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. Jeremiah Stovall with the tackle. And Wisconsin will go to work just seconds into this third quarter, as Nebraska was not able to stay on the field for very long offensively, but they'll take the touchdown anyway.
Let's talk about the difference in quick strike offense versus the game control, ball control offense of Wisconsin. Less than a minute for that touchdown drive, right? So this offense can strike fast for Nebraska. A little bit different for the Huskers. This defense still has to be off the field.
And on first down from the 29, Jonathan Taylor turns it upfield. Taylor dragging Reed for the first down. All the way to the 41 for Jonathan Taylor, a pickup of 12. And Antonio Reed went for about 5 of that 12 on the back of Taylor.
Now look at the vision to cut back and then breaks the arm tackle of Muhammad Berry and then takes Reed for a ride. It's been a tough night for Reed a little bit. The pancake after the celebration, we thought Groshek was down, and then he had taken him for a ride by Taylor.
Here's Taylor again. Taylor with a flag in behind the play. Tripped up first by Aaron Williams after about 2.5 yards.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 22. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Alex Davis with Nebraska's 7th penalty for 75 yards.
It's all over Scott Frost's face. Every time they get some kind of a stop, you'll see it.
It's right there on Ben Shaw. You see Davis there.
The tight end. Usually they'll say hands to the face when you're getting off on a block. On a tackle, it's usually a face mask, but he gripped it so hard you could call a face mask. Critical error.
Hornibrook with pressure coming. Unloaded it short in front of A.J. Taylor.
It went back to the route that Taylor dropped earlier in the first half, but Hornibrook doesn't get his feet set here and throws it in the dirt. Not even giving Taylor a chance to make a play. Uncharacteristic accuracy from Hornibrook as he was completely inaccurate. Groshek in the game, 37. Always got to be aware. They've been giving the ball a lot.
Groshek with the carry. And Groshek caught from behind. It was Luke Gifford who came flying in. Tackles him at the 39. This is a giant third down, Jay Lehman. Wisconsin trying to maintain the advantage, but Nebraska looking for a little breath and a little momentum.
And you think this is an obvious passing situation unless Paul Chryst is thinking, you see Scott Frost dialing up some offensive plays. What's he when he gets the ball back? But is Paul Chryst thinking this is 4-down territory? Maybe. I think he's going to throw the football that Groshek into protect. And of course, you've got the tight end Ferguson. A little bit different formation here, but you got Ferguson in a favorable matchup.
Huskers bring pressure. Hornibrook's in trouble. Gets away. He'll throw, and it's a sliding catch by Davis for the first down at the 27.
Carlos Davis had a shot to bring him down. When he broke free, he gets the first.
Well, they got pressure. They just couldn't get him on the ground. And let's watch this catch. Look at the arms underneath by Danny Davis. It's about as good as you do. You put your forearms together. You don't let the ball come through. Great technique.
We have had some terrific looks from our crew tonight as well. Plays on the goal line, catches in the middle of the field. Excellent, excellent work by our BTN crew. On first down, Taylor with a hop step, and Taylor down near the 21-yard line. Give him 6 before Mo Berry can drop him. Nebraska strikes with that 75-yard touchdown pass. And Jay, here comes Wisconsin, just chopping wood as they go down the field.
Boy, that third down catch by Davis was huge. That's an incompletion, and Nebraska can get the ball back. Now they've got a fresh set of downs and churning away.
2nd and 4 at the 21. Taylor again. Taylor with a hole.
Taylor got a block. Taylor's got a touchdown.
Another 100-yard game for Jonathan Taylor. Goes over the century mark with his 2nd touchdown of the night.
Gaglianone with the extra point, and Wisconsin back on top by 17.
Jonathan Taylor, so good when he gets the rock. The block from Alec Ingold. Vintage Badger ball. Waltzes into the end zone.
Alex Hornibrook and the Badgers back up by 17, 27-10 as he leads Wisconsin on another touchdown drive. And that's what they're playing for tonight, the Freedom Trophy, introduced in 2014, and it's pretty much had a permanent home in Madison. Badgers are 4-0 when the Huskers and Badgers have played for that Freedom Trophy. And right now, online to keep it right back in the trophy case.
Don't break my heart, Jay Lemon.
It'll bounce.
And here comes Maurice Washington. He's going to bring it out off the hop. Washington with a crease, and he stopped just shy of the 25.
Now, trophy games have been awfully good since 2010 to the Badgers. 8-0 for Paul Bunyan's Axe. 6-1 for the Heartland Trophy against Iowa, including the win earlier. 4-0 against the Huskers for the Freedom Trophy. The Badgers have a big trophy case, and usually all three trophies are right in it.
They play their best when they need to play their best, and they play their best in those trophy games.
On first down, Washington. Nice move to get to the edge, and Maurice Washington
with a first down to the 35-yard line. You can see why Scott Frost and his coaching staff think the future is very bright with Maurice Washington at running back.
Well, Mo Washington, that run right there is something Divine Ozigbo could not do. Cut back against the grain, had the speed to get to the edge, and that's why Scott Frost thinks this guy's going to be a special player for the Huskers.
Well, just wait till they get him into a full year of nutrition, strength training. He's only 190 right now. They think he'll be about 210 or 215.
Now he's on the sideline, and the pass dropped in beautifully by Adrian Martinez. Washington with the grab with Conley on his heels.
Boy, I love that play call. You bring him out of the backfield on a go right. You match him up on Ryan Connolly. You know, Washington on Connolly's speed. Connolly's the backer. How about the ball skills for a tailback to make that catch? Not an easy catch, and drop it in the bucket for Adrian Martinez.
First down at the 40. Martinez again.
Nowhere to go with it. In trouble. Martinez just going to throw this one away.
Good decision by the freshman. Van Ginkel was there to provide the early pressure. Songapolu finishing it off. That is a large man. Olive Songapolu, 342-pound senior from American Samoa. The story's been told, but I'll mention it again because I think it's a requisite. Former cheerleader in high school. Can still backflip, can still do the splits.
It's a large man.
Plays a mean ukulele.
2nd and 10. Martinez on the keep. Martinez with the fumble. Ball loose. Who's got it? Badgers say they have it at the 41-yard line. And it's Wisconsin ball. First turnover of the game. And it's Songapolu.
His ears must have been burning. Knew he had to make a play. It looked like Tyler Johnson might have got the ball out. Just bad ball handling in traffic by the young quarterback. And you can see, I know one thing. I wouldn't want to be wrestling for a ball with Olive Songapolu on the bottom of the pile. That might be the last guy I want to wrestle a ball. Look at that big arm. Just swallows up the ball.
Johnson with a strip. Songapolu with the recovery. Badgers with it back at the Wisconsin 41.
Don't sleep on Paul Chryst taking a shot after a turnover.
Out of the eye, Jonathan Taylor. Taylor with another opening. And into Nebraska territory. And Rick Pizzo, I know you've been prowling the sidelines. What's the mood over on Nebraska's side right now?
Kevin, it's almost impossible to keep track of all the mood swings. When Nebraska scored that touchdown to start the third quarter, it was like a giant balloon of hope had been inflated, almost to the point of exploding with the possibility because they were imagining their first win. It was quickly deflated. All the air came out of that balloon when Wisconsin drove right down the field, had hope again, and that turnover has extinguished it all. The players resting with their helmets off, a lot of hands on knees right now, shaking heads in disbelief.
Meanwhile, Jonathan Taylor just continuing to chip away. Rick, thanks so much. Trey Neal on the stop there. The Badgers, this is the perfect position, Jay, for a Wisconsin team. Up by 17, third quarter. Now just lean on that offensive line and run game.
This team is built to play from ahead, not from behind, because they can just chew up the clock.
15-0 over the last year plus when they score 24 or more. Hornibrook, Davis, first down, Badgers. Boodle with the tackle. 7th time today, incidentally, that Wisconsin has crossed into Nebraska territory. They've had 7 total drives.
Getting Danny Davis back. You look at DiCaprio Boodle. He's a guy that's been targeted a lot early in the season. Has 10 pass breakups coming in this game. Been matched up on Danny Davis. You know, Danny Davis is a guy they said during the bye week started to play like the Danny Davis of old. The 3 touchdown in the Orange Bowl last year. Danny Davis, they really need him in the absence of Quintez Cephas.
There's Taylor again. Taylor to the edge. Driven out with a flag down behind the play at the 20-yard line. That flag back at the 30. This one may be coming back, Jay.
Holding offense, number 49. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Kyle Madison, just the 3rd Badger penalty for 30 yards.
See 49 right there on Gifford. Gets his hands outside the pads, and as Gifford tries to go away and spin out, he held on just a hair too long. He could have let go because the ball was already man, but when you're blocking, you don't get to see the football. So you don't know if the ball's past you or not. You know, that's an example where a guy like Xander Neville, who's the best blocking tight end, injured during practice this week, where they miss him, and Penniston has to fill the void.
Hornibrook to the edge. Taylor with the catch and a first down. 1st and 17 at the 39. They get 19 in one play and move the chains.
When you're on the right hash, look for Hornibrook to roll to his left and find his favorite receiver there, Taylor. Just a deep hitch route, comes back to the football, working on DiCaprio Boodle. Didn't get the full kit and caboodle there.
I'm not going to acknowledge that. That was terrible. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Taiwan Deal, the running back.
Deal sheds a tackle. Deal, a stiff arm. Deal, a touchdown.
Red zone appearances earlier in the game were field goals. Now the red zone trips turning into touchdowns. This one from Deal, the extra point, makes it 34-10 Badgers.
Well, who doesn't matter who the running back is. Taylor, Groshek. How about Taiwan Deal behind some great blocking? Look at a stiff arm on Neal. So good, we need a second look.
Awfully big
Trey
deal
Neal
there.
Gets stiffed. Touchdown, Badgers.
A career-long 20-yard carry for Taiwan Deal. It was Wisconsin's 7th carry of 12 yards or more tonight. And they are wearing out Nebraska right now. Up 34-10, still 6:50 to play in the 3rd. And it's all Badgers here at Camp Randall. Out to the 25, come the Huskers, 1st down and 10. Next week, a full slate of Big Ten football games comes your way on BTN and FS1 with 4 great conference matchups. It's all next week on BTN or FS1. Watch anywhere on the Fox Sports app. Go to BTN.com tomorrow to see where you can find games. If your goal is to avoid Kevin Kugler and crew, don't watch Michigan State, Penn State next week because that's where we'll be. But if you'd like to watch a good football game, that's where we'll be.
That was a great game last year. Wow. The upset by Michigan State.
There's Martinez on the keep. Martinez trying to get to the edge, and he lost the football. Is poked out by Scott Nelson, but it goes out of bounds. And slow to get up.
For an injured player.
It's like Maurice Washington on the edge. It is Washington crawling to the Husker sideline. And every Nebraska fan groaned again.
Look at Nelson just punched the ball. That's called the fox in the hole drill. Pops it out. You see 28 got hit. Maurice Washington.
He's blocking Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson. Right.
That's Ozigbo in motion. And Divine Ozigbo with a carry, a little burst, and Ozigbo to the 34 before T.J. Edwards trips him up, and it's 3rd and 1.
We just haven't seen that downhill run from Ozigbo at all tonight. It was a good pickup for him. Probably see it again right here.
3rd and 1. There it is. And a first down for Nebraska. He did that with regularity last week against Purdue, Jay. Maurice Washington, the true freshman, had 92 yards in the loss to Troy earlier in the year. Didn't play last week. He was sick.
Martinez, Spielman open, down the sideline. J.D. Spielman, another big gain all the way down to the Wisconsin 22-yard line.
Keep your eyes on number 10. When you take your eyes off him, watch they'll get lost. See Nelson's eyes? Looking back at the quarterback. When you look at the quarterback, you watch him complete balls to your guy. Spielman will make you pay. So dangerous.
Second time tonight that Spielman's got past Scott Nelson.
Martinez again off play action. All day to throw. Nobody open. Martinez up the sideline and gets positive yardage.
Tyler Johnson, I think, thought he was going out of bounds, Jay.
Hit him with the old okey doke. You know, kind of the fake out. I'm throwing, I'm going out of bounds. Johnson lets up, and he puts on the Jets. Martinez is sudden. Can make a lot of people miss in space. Very smooth athlete.
On 2nd and 2, it's Ozigbo diving for the first down.
End zone here. You got to have a touchdown. Always got to be alert for 10 and 8 on the same side. Stanley Morgan, J.D. Spielman.
They're to the bottom of the screen. Martinez, nobody open. Martinez now will throw it away.
Almost got it to Rick Pizzo, who, quite honestly, didn't give the same kind of effort that Rick Pizzo usually gives on the sideline to go get that pass.
That's a good shot of Rick Pizzo.
Yeah, I mean, look at Rick's effort here.
Look at this effort right here.
I mean,
can we get a BT and standout?
No, we cannot.
BT and standout.
Our
Rick
culture,
Pizzo.
we got to change the BTN culture. Rick Pizzo's got to go for, you know, Lisa Byington, she dived for that ball when she's on the sidelines.
Lack of effort. They call that a loaf.
2nd and 10. Martinez. Nowhere to go again. Martinez for the end zone. A jump ball. Jack Stoll pries it away. Touchdown. What a catch by Jack Stoll for his
his first TD of the year.
Jack Stoll steals it away from Dakota Dixon right here. Goes up, high points the football right in front of Rick Pizzo. That's how you go after the pass, Pizzo. Take notes. You got a good view. Next time we throw you the ball, catch it like that. Stoll.
Fellas, you got to protect the moneymaker sometimes, Lehman.
You two work this out in the studio this week. 34-17, Wisconsin, as Nebraska shows a little life. Still plenty of time at Camp Randall. (34-17) Wisconsin with the edge over Nebraska. 4:20 remaining in the third. This is going to be sort of like those Tom Amansky instructional videos for baseball, except it's for football. And here's how not to catch the ball. Rick Pizzo.
He's a former hockey player, not quite a football player. He was a goalie. Just,
I mean, and they sort of look at it like,
effort.
Whatever.
Yeah, okay.
And then Jack Stoll says, no, Rick Pizzo. Watch this. Boom, right in front of Rick Pizzo, pulls it in, takes it away from Dakota Dixon. You could say he stole it from Dakota Dixon. Rick Pizzo will send you a DVD copy of that so you can watch and learn.
Well, listen, the good news is that my athletic career is over. I am not trying to make anybody's team, and every now and then at this point in your life, you got to make a business decision.
All I know is that when the BTN company picnic happens next summer, Rick Pizzo is not going to be the first pick at wide receiver.
Stick 'em,
no.
Fellas. I just need some extra stick 'em if I'm going to go up and get that next time.
I don't know. I think it would have taken Stickum and a large rake, perhaps a net, something that would have allowed you to reach out and get that.
Maybe actually moving his 2 feet over to the right.
Moving.
He was stationary like a statue.
From the 28, first down.
You got to think it's a heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor.
Taylor with a carry. Taylor gets a couple, but Akinbaladu in there to get him first. Got him around the ankles, then toppled at the 30-yard line, 2-yard gain. It's really a significant defensive series for this Nebraska team. It's a 17-point game. You string a stop or two together. Chance for a little hope. Here's Groshek. The stop has been the problem, though. Groshek gets a couple. Carlos Davis with the tackle. Weeknights, BTN's Insiders bring you the latest news from around the conference, discuss college football's major storylines, and tell you what to watch for in the nation's most important matchups. Big Ten football and beyond weeknights right here on BTN.
I'm on with Rick Pizzo.
Oh, good luck with
Thursday nights. We don't practice catching the football. Maybe we should. But we talk a lot of football. It's a great show. 4 Central, 5 Eastern.
You two may not be talking this week. Hornibrook on third down to the air. It's his tight end Ferguson again with a first down. Dedrick Young on the tackle, but not before he gets to the 47 and picks up 15.
See Ferguson, he's going to be matched up right here on the backer, Dedrick Young. Mismatch all day, just a 10-yard out. Watch him work upfield and press out to the outside. Ball is delivered on time and on the money. That's like clockwork for a Badger offense. When you lined up on this hash, you always got to be aware of that left rollout as well.
There's that rollout. Batted away, incomplete. That's Cam Taylor, the freshman, working against Kendrick Pryor. And it's second down.
Cam Taylor watched the same tape we did. When they're on the right hash, Hornibrook being a southpaw is going to roll out to his left to try to get closer to Kendrick Pryor. Look how he battles for that ball with the long arm rake. You put your left arm in between both hands. Good technique from Cam Taylor.
Second and 10. Hornibrook, quick toss, Pryor with the grab, and it's incomplete. Couldn't hang on through the contact of Mo Berry. Eric Shenander telling us yesterday, you asked him, who's the guy that's playing the hardest right now? Quick answer, Mohamed Berry. He said, nobody on this defense loves football more than Mo Berry does right now. And that's what these guys have been looking for. We talked culture earlier. That Nebraska coaching staff wants guys who love football. That's the first thing they're looking for right now.
Third down, 3-by-1 set.
3rd and 10. Horny Brooks setting up the screen to Groshek being chased, and a good play by Khalil Davis. The big man running Groshek down, and the Badgers will have to punt it away.
Well, Shenander's going to love that effort. The big man, look at the effort here. This is championship effort. You got to have your big guys right here. Watch it. He's going to read screen. See how he feels it? He realized they let him go. Watch him chase down Groshek in the open field. Tremendous effort.
His senior year in high school, he ran a 4.63 in the 40.
It looked like it.
Pressure on Connor Allen with a flag down. Spielman trying to find room. There is none there. Zach Vaughn with the tackle. A flag down back at the line of scrimmage. 43-yard punt. The return to the 12. Let's see about this flag.
There is no foul on the play. First down and 10.
Chris trying to encourage his defense to get a stop. Big series coming up. Nebraska with the ball, down 17.
Tyler Donovan, that was P.J. Hill. He was a load to bring down from the great many Badger backs.
Worst starting field position of the game for the Huskers at their own 12-yard line. Low snap. Martinez able to find Spielman, breathing room and more for the Huskers with a first down. 15-yard pickup for Spielman through the air as Madison Cone and Andrew Van Ginkel combine on the stop.
That was America's favorite game, according to Howard Griffith. Could I be more wide open? No one was on Spielman. Best player on the field offensively, nobody's guarding him.
Maurice Washington back out there. We saw him crawl to the sideline earlier. Spielman 5 catches, 132 yards tonight.
Love to line him up as an inside receiver.
Swing to Washington. Got a block on the edge, and Washington out of bounds across the 30.
And who did he get a block by? He got a block from J.D. Spielman on Andrew Van Ginkel. Usually Van Ginkel worked through that. He's banged up, but it was a big block by Spielman. You know, Spielman's only 5'9", $175, plays a lot bigger, and he's tough. Always lined up with that third receiver inside. Really a dynamic duo with him and Stanley Morgan. Just right beside him.
Martinez looking down the sideline for Washington, who is absolutely pounded as flags fly everywhere.
Now, there's also a hat off down there. Washington, did he go out of bounds?
Well, there's a lot of flags back in the backfield. There's a flag on the sideline. If he did go out of bounds, you're the first person to touch the ball. You can't. That's a penalty. You see that when a ref takes his hat off, that means the receiver has stepped out of bounds. Let's watch Washington. Now, if he's forced out of bounds, is the question. Connolly got a hand on him. It's hard to see right there if he was. You can see Scott Nelson here, possible targeting.
Yep.
They could lose Nelson for the remainder of the game with that hit
if it is targeting, they would also lose him for the first half of their next game as well, as this occurs in the second half. They'll play Michigan.
Pretty tough game.
Yep. And it's an area in which the Badgers are thin already in the secondary. Now, again, as you mentioned, Jay, there are also flags back at the 27-yard line.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding on the offense, number 63. Personal foul, targeting. Defense, number 9. The yardage for the penalties, those offsets. The previous play is under further review.
As always, they'll look at the targeting. Costs Nebraska a huge gain. Another penalty that costs the Huskers, but Scott Nelson with targeting could cost himself the rest of this game and the first half next week. Dean Blandino is our rules analyst. He is in Los Angeles. All right, Dean, does this match targeting?
Yeah, so what you have is you have a defenseless receiver. So if the defender, if there's an indicator, if he leads with the shoulder, he leads with the head, and he makes forcible contact to the head neck area, it's a foul for targeting. This looks like targeting. I don't see anything that is going to allow the replay official to overturn this call. Here's the call. Dean, thank you very much. Our call coming here on the field. One more look at it.
After further review, the ruling on the field of targeting is confirmed. Number 9 is disqualified for the remainder of the ball game. As stated before, the yardage penalties offset. Second down.
Been a rough night for the freshman Scott Nelson. He's been on the wrong end of a couple of long passes to J.D. Spielman. And now Nelson is out for the remainder of this game. He will also be ineligible to play the first half next week against Michigan.
And if there's one position they can ill afford to lose somebody, it's in the secondary. Already inexperienced, and you've got Donovan Peoples-Jones, Nico Collins, and a pair of tight ends at Michigan that are just filthy dangerous. With Shea Patterson throwing the ball, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Badgers next week.
2nd and 5 for Nebraska at the 32. Should be the final play of this third quarter. It's Washington with a carry, and Washington with the first down just across the 37-yard line. David Falk on the tackle. We've reached the end of the third. Ready to jump around in Madison when we return. Everybody getting set for one of the great college football traditions. Jump around always starts the fourth quarter at Camp Randall Stadium here in Madison. They are preparing for jump around, and it is now time for tonight's postcards from Fansville. Sponsored by Dr. Pepper, it's the official drink of Fansville. Fans are ready to jump around in Madison. This press box about to start shaking as well. From the 37 on first down. Martinez starts off the fourth quarter, and it's intercepted and dropped. Almost caught off the deflection by Faion Hicks.
Boy, Martinez took a huge shot by Zach Bond. You're looking for Mike Williams down the field. Just not able to come up with the pick, Faion Hicks. But watch this hit.
In the NFL, laying on him with a body weight, that might have...
Clay Matthews somewhere.
Yeah, not far from here.
2nd and 10. Martinez. Morgan with the catch. Breaks one tackle. Breaks a second tackle. First down, Nebraska. Rashad Wildgoose, the freshman, one of those that couldn't pull him down.
Yeah, Morgan working on Wildgoose, the freshman. Watch him come back to the football, then get upfield. Improper angle by Wildgoose leads to a gain.
Here's Martinez. And a flag comes in as he throws it away. 7 penalties for 75 yards against Nebraska, and a couple that have offset that have really hurt the Huskers tonight.
Holding. Offense. Number 63. 10-yard penalty. First down.
For a rhythm offensive coordinator, for a rhythm offense like Scott Frost wants to have at Nebraska, to have so much laundry on the field is just a killer to your tempo offense and trying to get people off balanced. He knows they've got to clean it up. Talked about his team in his press conference, post-game presser last week. Most undisciplined team in the country. Sometimes they look like that. And at times we've seen that tonight.
He was pleased with the response his players had to last week. They said enough is enough. They had a team meeting. He said last night when we were talking with him, we've got about 80% dialed in right now. 1st and 20 at the 41. Over the middle. That one almost intercepted. Dakota Dixon had it land right in his lap. He can't believe he didn't pick it off.
Dakota Dixon can't believe it either.
For an injured player.
I don't know if he was injured or actually an injured ego, because it's tipped a little bit, but man, you don't get an easier pick than that. Right in the breadbasket. And just a bad ball by Martinez. Just overshot Spielman. Was an easy throw.
And because Dixon laid on the turf frustrated, he has to leave the field for a play, and in comes Seth Currens. They stopped it because they thought he was injured.
And you've got 2 backup safeties in the game because Nelson was ejected. So you got a freshman corner at the top of your screen in Wildgoose. And so you have to question, is this a time to take a shot?
They'll set up the screen to Morgan. Got a block from Washington, and Morgan twisted down at the 47 by David Falk. 6-yard pickup on the play, and Dixon right back out onto the field for Wisconsin.
I think you have 2 downs to get a first down here. You don't need to get the first down. I think you're in 4-down territory if you're Nebraska. You got to make every possession count.
3rd and 14. Pressure coming. Martinez sacked. T.J. Edwards.
Jim Leonard dials up the pressure for his All-American inside linebacker, T.J. Edwards. You'll see him right here. Going to come on the pressure. As you see, the defensive line cuts in front of him. He cuts right off the hip of his D lineman. He's able to finish the job and get the quarterback on the ground. Something Jim Leonard said, we've gotten to the quarterback. We just can never get him on the ground. Not the case with T.J. Edwards. Big play for the Badger D.
Had 3 sacks in the first 4 games of the Badgers. Now 2 tonight. As the punt out of bounds inside the 10, Isaac Armstrong. They'll mark it out at the 12 as T.J. Edwards celebrates the 2nd Badger sack of the night.
Full media timeout.
With dueling bands in the pregame. Nebraska's band here. Of course, Wisconsin's band, as you would imagine, they're here as well. Both performed in the pregame show. But on the football field, between the dueling football teams, that's been all Wisconsin to this point. 34-17 with 13:03 remaining in the 4th. Yardage pretty even. But Paul Christ's squad taking control of this one early, led 20-3 at halftime. 2 teams even in the 3rd at 14 apiece. On first down, Taylor. Taylor into the secondary. Stiff arms Doodle, and here he goes. Jonathan Taylor, 88 equals 6.
He had 249 last year against Nebraska. He's up to 216 tonight. His career long last year, 75 against Nebraska. New career long, 88 yards for Jonathan Taylor.
It's not just the power as he breaks arm tackles and stiff arms his way. It's the speed to take it the distance for 88 yards. And a little bit of attitude. Look at the stiff arm. Tywan Neal did it. Taylor says, I can do that too. Touchdown, Badgers.
Man, Jonathan Taylor electrifying. 216 yards, second time over the 200-yard mark this year. Fifth career game over 200 for the sophomore. 5 games into his sophomore season.
Look at the rushing yard differential. Huge. Wisconsin up over 300 in Nebraska. Only 67 yards. Have to run the ball pretty well against Purdue last week.
One yard deep. Washington trying to make a play. Flag is down. Washington to cut. Washington down the sideline showing his speed. And Washington finally upended at the 30-yard line. Madison Cone with the touchdown-saving tackle, but the flag is down.
Block in the back at the 10-yard line.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 4. Half the distance to the goal. First down and 10.
Caleb Tanner with the block in the back. And Washington.
It's at the bottom of your screen. You'll see him right here. He's in the position. He's behind him. And he tries not to do the block in the back with putting his hands up. But if you get any part of your body to hit the backside, they're going to call it. Now, that was pretty light because it kind of looked like the defender dove a little bit there. But how about Maurice Washington? This is a guy that's going to be special for the Huskers.
Ozigbo steps out of a tackle from Edwards. Ozigbo got a block, and he's close to a first down.
Eric Burrell with the tackle. Gerald Foster out there blocking for Divine Ozigbo. A little slow to get up. And Ozigbo limping to the sideline. Well, the running backs for Wisconsin. Look at these games against Nebraska. And that's the big games. 200 yards and 2 touchdowns or more. Jonathan Taylor last year, tonight 216, 3 touchdowns. Of course, the 408 game for Melvin Gordon. That was one that sent ripples across college football. Here's Washington.
And Washington has his legs taken out at the 16-yard line.
Good tackle by Burton. Dante Burton on the stop.
That's how you tackle in space on Washington. Look at him fire. Goes low. Like to see him wrap up, but got Washington on the ground.
Spielman and Morgan at the top of the screen on first down.
Martinez with time. Spielman, what a catch.
One hand pulling it in against Eric Burrell. He is a special player.
You want to see a big-time throw? That's a big-time throw. Drops it in the bucket on the corner route. But how about the catch? J.D. Spielman, one hand, and gets both feet in. That'd be good on Sundays. This guy will leave Nebraska, I'm predicting, as the all-time leading receiver. If he stays all 4 years, he's that productive, just a sophomore.
Spielman in motion. Washington with a carry. Cuts it back. Nice little zigzag with flags down behind the play. Washington
with a 7-yard run that's likely coming back.
The flag on the play.
Penalty number 10 if it's against the Huskers.
Holding. Offense. Number 88. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Washington limping around on that Husker sideline. Looks like it's 86 right there.
Yep. Stoll held on to Van Ginkel. If you're Scott Frost, that's the look we've seen a lot in fourth quarters. Frustrated with the penalties.
Zigbo back in the ball game.
Protection extraordinary. Martinez steps through a tackle. He's going to get the first down and more. And Martinez upended in Badger territory across midfield.
That's one thing we haven't seen tonight. We thought we'd see more Martinez running the football all kinds of time. Everyone's in coverage, everyone's covered, but look how smooth he is. Never panics, no sliding for him.
He had 22 yards all night before that 28-yard carry.
He's actually been extremely accurate in the second half.
To the sideline, catch made by Mike Williams. Just his fourth catch of the year, but that's a first down at the 37.
See Mike, good hands catch. Both feet in, toes down. They found something working over there on Rashad Wildgoose a little bit on those deep out routes. Again, young secondary for the Badgers. Scott Nelson ejected because of the targeting.
High snap, good catch by Martinez. Now Martinez to throw for Spielman. He's got it inside the 10. First and goal, Nebraska. From a high snap to a long pass.
Look at the protection here. And look at Spielman. You see a big hit on him. Always does a tremendous job of high-pointing the football against an inexperienced secondary. Spielman's having a huge night.
30 more for Spielman. Here's Martinez on the keep one-on-one against Dixon.
And he gets past Dixon for the touchdown.
I know the present for Nebraska fans is not looking great, but the future is very bright with that young man.
We saw the hesitation on Tyler Johnson. Do it on the linebackers once, but watch this. Dakota Dixon doesn't know what hit him. Adrian Martinez, smooth with the okey-doke on the sideline.
Barrett Pickering on for the extra point, a 95-yard touchdown drive for the Huskers, who are back within 17. 9:11 to go in Madison. Scott Frost's offense trying to get it going. Take a look at tonight's Quicken Loans Making the Right Play, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans.
And it's all Jonathan Taylor. Huge 88-yard run with the power, the speed, and the stiff arm on DiCaprio Boodle. So dangerous when you get him open field. Eric Schnander said they're going to make our cornerback tackle Jonathan Taylor. And that's what ended up happening, and Taylor won that matchup.
41-24. Deep kickoff, Crookshank back, and this will be a touchback. We were talking during the break, Jay, about strategy in this game. And look, it's a long shot. Everybody knows that it's probably an uphill climb that's a little too steep for Scott Frost's squad. But should they have gone for 2 on that last touchdown to at least get within 2 scores?
Absolutely. I mean, your possessions are at a premium right now. 9 minutes and some change left. If you get it to 16, 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions, ties the football game for you. Now it's a 3-score game no matter what when you're 17 down.
Adrian Martinez, incidentally, 427 yards of total offense tonight. He had 410 last week. Taylor with the carry. And let's check in with Dave Repson at our BTN studios in Chicago. Dave?
Kevin, tough night for Nebraska on the gridiron. Didn't go so well at the Devaney Center either in a top 5 matchup with Minnesota. The kill there, match point for the Gophers. They win 3-1, hand Nebraska its first conference loss of the season.
Wow, big surprise there. Well, not really a big surprise. Minnesota's got an excellent volleyball program. John Cook, the head coach of Nebraska volleyball, tried to get that time changed so it didn't go on at the same time as the football game, and Minnesota, as they have the right to do, declined to change it. As the carry by Taiwan Deal is good for a first down to the 39. Jacob Weinmaster in there to make the stop for the Huskers.
Taiwan Deal has played in some critical situations, whether it be red zone or in the fourth quarter in the Iowa game 2 weeks ago. This is a change of pace back that hits the hole a little bit harder than Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's more patient, uses vision, and then turns on the jets. Taiwan Deal is more of a slasher, a bruiser, and this guy would start at a lot of programs. He just has a very good tailback in front of him.
Missed all of last year with the injury, but the senior out of Capitol Heights, Maryland, has a ton of talent. Deal again with the carry, bangs into Pennison, his blocker, and then bounces off for 8. Tuesday night on The Journey, see why J.K. Dobbins and Mike Weber give Ohio State a potent backfield combination. You'll learn how Indiana's Ja'Shawn Harris has overcome 3 ACL surgeries to return to the field and go behind the scenes for the Maryland-Michigan matchup. Don't miss The Journey. Big Ten Football 2018, Tuesday at 10:30 Eastern, right here on BTN. Badgers trying to move to 4-1. Huskers in danger of dropping to 0-5. And Gifford with the tackle on 2nd and 2. It'll bring up 3rd down and a yard.
And the Badgers just take your will as a defense. Just grind and grind. And the reason that play popped with Taylor a couple of series ago, you get worn out. You can't keep tackling them over and over for 5, 6, 4-yard gains. One's going to pop, and now it's 3rd and 1. You're going to try to send the house to stop it, but if you don't, you got a whole other fresh set of downs.
That's Taylor in motion. Carry up the middle. 1st down, Badgers to midfield. You mentioned it earlier, Jay. Few play from ahead better than Wisconsin because they can do things like that. Just chip away, keep moving the chains, and keep that clock running. They've got a big test next week at the Big House.
It's going to be a great matchup of a run defense versus a very good run game in Wisconsin. The run defense for Michigan is elite. It's championship level. Be fun to watch that one.
Deal pops through a hole and down to the 37-yard line. Cam Taylor on the tackle, flag down behind the play near the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense number 61. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Carlos Davis
Timeout
still down
for an injured player
for Nebraska, as the timeout called for the injured player. As we look at the remaining schedule for Wisconsin, at Michigan next week, then home for Illinois, at Northwestern, Rutgers, Penn State, Purdue, and Minnesota for Paul Chryst squad. Huge game next week as the Badgers enjoy a 41-24 lead. Timeout in Madison. Carlos Davis up and appears to be fine on the Nebraska sideline. No members of the athletic training staff tending to Carlos Davis after he got up and made his way. Peyton Newell onto the field. You know, you look ahead, Jay Lehman, for this Nebraska team. Obviously, tonight's not going the way they wanted. The start of the Scott Frost era hasn't gone the way they wanted. But you see those glimmers, and you see Adrian Martinez, you see J.D. Spielman, you see Maurice Washington. You're going to see guys that he's going to be moving around to fit in different spots as his program moves forward. And, you know, he's going to take guys that are in one position, shift them to other places, perhaps. We were talking with him last night as Wisconsin closes in on that Freedom Trophy, and he was telling us, for example, a guy who was recruited by the old administration at tight end, as Garrett Groshek with the carry, unable to get too far to the 44. Cam Jurgens, he's a tight end out of Beatrice, Nebraska, highly touted tight end, and he said, we're actually going to look at him as a center moving forward. And so Cam Jurgens, who came in as a tight end from Beatrice is now going to be moving, sounds like, to the middle of that offensive line in the future. And Scott Frost says this guy has the chance, with development and practice, to be a great center. And they're going to look for guys on this roster that they can find to put in spots so they don't have to go out and recruit somebody else to that area. Is there somebody on the roster who can play a position and be good at that position? Cam Jurgens is one of those guys. Fumble on the play, and it's recovered by Nebraska's Khalil Davis. DiCaprio Boodle punched it out, and Davis recovers.
It's uncharacteristic for Groshek, who's usually so good with ball security. Watch Boodle, number 23, put his left arm right on the football and pops it out. And Davis, Khalil Davis, able to hop on it. Just great effort right there by Boodle to get his left paw on there.
First Badger turnover. And it gives the Husker offense another opportunity. 4:16 to go, and now you look at that decision not to go for two. And if you're a Nebraska fan, you're really wishing it was a two-score game right now. Another low snap. Martinez able to scoop it up, and incomplete, intended for Spielman.
Off of the low snap, wasn't able to get his feet set, and that's why he threw it in the dirt to Spielman. Spielman was open.
Second down.
Second down and 10 at the 44. .370 yards passing, 57 rushing for Adrian Martinez. Great protection. And a strike thrown by Martinez to Spielman. J.D. Spielman's 9th catch. He's over 200 yards on the night.
Talk about your feet being set. See how he's got his toe pointed out ahead of the receiver? That's exactly where the ball's going to go. The way your feet are set wasn't set the play prior. It was set that play. You have an accurate throw.
Martinez floating it, and a little bit long, intended for Mike Williams. And a flag is down at the 20-yard line. Was he held? Dante Burton out there on the coverage of Mike Williams.
There's a flag on the play.
Prior to the pass being thrown, holding, defense number 4. 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Watch Burton. He's going to just grab the jersey right there. I think he might have even done it prior to that, coming out of the break on Mike Williams, which slowed down Williams on the route.
Martinez with the pump. Martinez looking for Morgan on the sideline. Dixon over to break it up. Good play by Dakota Dixon to close on that ball and swat it away. Dixon limping now.
Can ill afford to have Dixon hurt. Instead of going for the hit, he goes for the ball, tries to high point the ball.
When he came down awkwardly on that right foot, you could see it bend a little bit as he came down. Boy, that would be a crushing loss for Wisconsin. Already a secondary that's thin. They won't have Scott Nelson for the first half next week. Caesar Williams was out with the injury. Seth Curran's in now, replacing Dakota Dixon. Martinez under heat, gets away from Conley. And Martinez buys enough time to throw it away.
Ryan Conley with the pressure.
Watch Dakota Dixon here. Watch his right foot right there. Foot and then the knee kind of pop.
You know, when you're up in the air and all your weight comes down on one foot awkwardly, it's never good. He immediately grabs the right leg.
He's inside the tent right now being looked at.
And that's the one space you never want to be as a player, in the tent.
No. Third down and 10. Pressure again from Van Ginkel. Martinez throwing across his body a little bit too tall for Morgan, who he had open. Curran's with a chance at a pick, and he couldn't pull it in.
You never want to throw across your body into the middle of the field because you could get intercepted. But when a guy's that wide open, and Morgan gets up, and that could have been easily an interception. That's the third dropped interception we saw Seth Kearns. And you think if Dakota Dixon was in there, that probably was a pick, although Dixon dropped one earlier.
4th down and 10. Huskers need the 22 for the first down. Martinez looking for Stanley Morgan. It's incomplete. And Nebraska will turn it over on downs. Eric Burrell on the coverage. And the Huskers trot to the sidelines, empty on this one. And Burrell shaken up a little bit after that. My goodness.
This is a thin position for Wisconsin.
Getting thinner by the play, Jay.
Take a look at Burrell. Was it the ball that hit his left thumb, maybe?
Maybe. When you've already got Fayon Hicks, who's been battling a thumb injury in that secondary. Here's Taiwan Deal. Found a hole. Deal. Wrapped up by Aaron Williams. Coming up, Dave Rebson, Stanley Jackson, Corey Wooten, all standing by in our Chicago studios. They've got the scores and highlights from around the Big Ten. It's coming up on the State Farm postgame report. Some of the highlights from this game will include a lot of runs from Wisconsin and J.D. Spielman breaking his own single-game receiving record at Nebraska. He had 200 in the loss to Ohio State last year, 209 tonight. It's also the most ever by an opposing player at Camp Randall Stadium.
Wow. I'd like to know when the last time somebody had back-to-back 200-yard receiving games at Nebraska. That might be a
J.D.
first.
Spielman. Last year Ohio State, this year Wisconsin.
So he might be the only guy.
He has, those are the only two 200-yard games ever.
And they're back-to-back.
Well, not back-to-back, back-to-back years. I mean, you had Ohio State last year.
No one's ever done it back-to-back.
I would guess not, no.
Incredible. This guy's one gifted player. Tough as they come. He's the son of Rick Spielman, front office for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep, GM.
Played up at Eden Prairie High. Boy, the Gophers can't believe they let that one get away.
2nd and 7. Deal again. Taiwan Deal stopped short of the first down by Jacob Weinmaster and Aaron Williams. Rick Spielman was at the Temple game today. They're in Philadelphia tomorrow, are the Vikings.
Temple's got some players. You know, when they beat Maryland. Maryland's a solid team. I was in show today against Michigan. It's a great team. But J.D. Spielman, this guy was not that highly recruited. But he's played really well against good opponents. Against Ohio State, 200 yards. Against a good Purdue team, 200 yards. Against Wisconsin, 200-plus yards.
There's Hornibrook. And almost intercepted. Lamar Jackson got his hands on it, couldn't pull it in. And it's 4th down and 2 with 1:01 to play. So the Huskers about to go 0-5. Last time that happened was 1945. Nebraska has never started a season 0-6. They've got Northwestern on the road next week before they go back home from Minnesota and Bethune-Cookman. Connor Allen to punt it away to J.D. Spielman. And pressure coming. Just got rid of it. Allen's punt. And that one will bounce for the touchback. Cam Taylor nearly got that one. So out to the 20-yard line, first down for Nebraska. 53 seconds to play.
And there's some positives for Nebraska. They've been able to get yardage on people. Lots of yardage. But they haven't been able to finish all the time on these drives. And quite frankly, just giving up too many points to win. Gave up over 40 against Purdue. Very different offense, a passing offense. And now give up over 40 to a running offense in Wisconsin.
And Andrew Bunch in to finish it out. So the night done for Adrian Martinez. Bunch swallowed up in the backfield by Tyler Johnson. Loss of 2 for Bunch. Brings up second down.
Loss of 2 on the play. 2nd and 12.
Mikhail Wilbon in at I-back for the Huskers. Bunch gonna scramble, now throws. Sliding catch is made by Kurt Rafdal. And that puts the Huskers over 500 yards of total offense. And it'll be the 3rd time this year they've topped the 500 mark, Jay. And of course, all 3 losses. And the catch made by Brian Reimers. First catch of the season for the Lincoln native.
When you have penalties, you have turnovers, and you can't convert in critical situations, the yardage just doesn't add up to wins.
And that marks the end of this one. Wisconsin gets the run game going. And Wisconsin knocks off the Huskers 41-24. Nebraska now 0-5. As moving to 4-1, the Badgers take home the Freedom Trophy for the 5th straight time. Adrian Martinez with a big night again. Over 400 yards of total offense, but Alex Hornibrook and Jonathan Taylor with his 221 yards, enough to get it done. Let's go downstairs to Rick Pizzo.
Paul, I know the game plan was ball control, time of possession. You did both those things wonderfully. How would you define the play tonight of your offensive line specifically?
I think, they were good. Obviously, I thought they gave Alex time when we were throwing it. More importantly, we're able to run the ball pretty effectively, and it certainly helps. The backs ran hard, all 3 of them, and so it's a good win.
How concerned are you with not just the play, but the health and the depth of your secondary heading into next week?
Well, we got to get guys back, right? And you appreciate the effort that everyone put in tonight to get this win, and then we got to move forward and see where we're at with the health of different guys, and then make the most of it.
Paul, as always, appreciate the time. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Kev?
Hi, Rick. Thanks so much. Impressive win for the Wisconsin Badgers tonight, 41-24. They knock off the Nebraska Cornhuskers. That'll wrap it up from Camp Randall as the Badgers take home the Freedom Trophy with a 41-24 win. Coming up, the State Farm postgame report. Dave Repson, Stanley Jackson, and Corey Wooten put a bow on another Big Ten Saturday. Coming up next. For Jay Lehman and Rick Pizzo, I'm Kevin Kugler saying so long from Madison. Badgers with the Freedom Trophy and a 41-24 win.